Welcome to Call Me Crazy. I'm Erin, co-founder of Dope Dog, here with Michael. And today on the show, we have Laurent Notin coming to us from Finland. And I'm going to have you say your name again. I'm so sorry, but you are another fellow podcast host. You're a CrossFit addict, and you've got 20 years of experience as an entrepreneur. So we're so excited to talk to you and hear all about what you're up to. Welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself and say your name properly.
Yeah, that was not bad actually. So, hi guys, my name is Laurent Notin. That's how you say it.
You got it close. You're close enough. You got it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's okay. So I'm a French living in Finland with 20 years of experience in Southeast Asia, actually.
Oh wow!
Wonderful.
Yeah. So what happened is I left France. I was like 23, and I followed my ex-partner at that time, the mothers of my kids, and she found a job in Laos. Initially for 9 months, and time went along, and then we just spent like 20 years over there. And then when you say I work for 20 years as an entrepreneur, it's not correct. I worked 20 years, like 15 years for entrepreneurs, a little bit less than that. And then I've been by myself for 3 years. And before that, I worked 4 years for an advertising agency where I had shares in a business. So basically, I've always been around entrepreneurs. Like what happened is that I remember when I was in Laos, I was working for this small research agency, and a year after I started, it was a small firm. We had like 10 staff. The owners of the firm, she was a French Laotian and he was a French Cambodian. And one day they came to me and they say, "Hey, so we have decided that we're going to move to Cambodia. Here are the keys of the company. So go on, manage, because, you're in charge now." And that's what happened. I was like, okay, sure. Oh, wow. I had absolutely no idea what to do. And this is how it started. And this is how I started running businesses for entrepreneurs. And basically, when you run a business for an entrepreneur, like real entrepreneur, is like you run your business for yourself. It's exactly the same, because all of these guys I work for, they are serial entrepreneurs, and the only difference is that it's not your money. But anyway, they don't have money, so I had to learn every little thing about what it means to run a business like from scratch. I had to learn financial management. I had to learn marketing. I had to learn how to be a leader, how to scale up a business, set up processes, etc. And it was so fun, and I've enjoyed it so much to the point that I thought that I was reaching the age of 40, and it was time that I become myself an entrepreneur, because otherwise it would be too late, And so that's what I did. Like 3 years ago, I decided that I would become a business coach, helping entrepreneurs setting up their businesses.
For some reason, I just started thinking of something. It might be way off topic, but I was thinking about kind of how things have changed so much from, say 30 years ago, where like our parents were working in, a 9-to-5 job or doing something, this is where I go, this is what I do. And for some reason, I'm just thinking about how entrepreneurship is almost becoming not the standard, but the way I think a lot of people are starting to work now, because, with the COVID thing and everything, everybody's looking for, extra money, or maybe you're working from home now, you have extra time, and it's becoming this thing where you can realize that you can actually be an entrepreneur, because I think a lot of people don't realize it. Like, oh, that just means like I have to, I have a little business over here and I'm doing this. And I think sometimes when people hear entrepreneur, they're like, oh, A, maybe he doesn't have a job, or B, he does have a job and he's ultra successful. Sometimes I don't think people understand that there's
different levels,
that middle ground where like you can have a successful business and you don't have to be Mark Cuban, and you don't have to be, anything like that. And I think the way of entrepreneurship is becoming, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting really deep because when you're talking about it and like your journey to entrepreneurship, a lot of people are going that way. And eventually, maybe 20 years from now, will everybody be working slightly for themselves? Because it does give you a lot of time and value and just the ease of like, hey, we're entrepreneurs, we're sitting, in our little den in the back room recording a podcast with you because we are entrepreneurs and we have that flexible time. And I think that's what you get, or what you get out of it is what you kind of put in. It's like, we want free time to do stuff like this and, grow brands and everything like that.
Yeah.
So for entrepreneurs out there listening, how would you're coaching them, you're doing sales, you're doing it all, business coach. We actually have our own business coach as well. And I think it's helped kind of, I don't know. And I don't want to say like tremendously, but it has helped a lot to kind of see the business from the outside and let us know like, oh, this is kind of, you're lacking over here a little bit, you're lacking over there. So for entrepreneurs today, any tips or anything that you could give that would help them understand that it's not, you're not going to go hike Mount Everest. You can start small and work your way up.
Yes, definitely. You're right. Entrepreneurship has become very trendy. I see that a lot in Finland. But it was also true in Asia, because in Asia, it's like every family has someone in the family. They all have their mom and pop shops, so they're all micro entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Because they have to survive. So it's part of who they are. But I see here in Europe, this is very trendy. Sometimes not for the good reasons, because a lot of people think they're going to be rich just like that. Social media, and you're absolutely right to say that this is not going to happen. And I think the first thing I would mention is that, when I think about entrepreneurship, I think about this iceberg. When you have the tip of the iceberg, so the part that you see, which is what you think it is about, and for example, a lot of people think that you're going to be super rich very, very fast. And then you have the part that you don't see, which is underwater, which is the reality of entrepreneurship, which is everything else.
Yeah.
Yourself, you're entrepreneurs, you have to learn absolutely everything.
Yeah, you do it all.
Yes, especially at the beginning, you don't have
help.
experience, you don't have help,
Yeah.
etc. So the first thing I would say is that being an entrepreneur is a journey. It's a long-term thing. And maybe it's gonna be a life thing. And so don't do it for the money, because if you do it for the money, then you're not doing it for the journey. You're gonna do it for the wrong reason. And actually, on my podcast, all of the entrepreneurs I've been talking to, and so far I've had like 37 interviews. They all said the same thing. None of them have been doing it for the money, but they've been doing it because they have this call, that's why also I'm doing it, because it's in me. I feel it. I have to do what I do, because I was born to do that. And if I don't do it now, I will regret it, and I know maybe I'm gonna fail, but that's fine. Failure is part of the journey. So be prepared for the journey, be prepared for the long term. That's number one thing I would say. I would say number two, I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek. Start with why. Very, very true. Again, that is something that I see with all my guests on the show. My show is called Interviews Cracking the Entrepreneurship Code. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to crack the code. And when you have a purpose, it makes things so much easier. Because then you can make, why you're doing the stuff you're doing. It's like, you see the path in front of you. You know what direction to take. You know what products to do. You know who is your target audience. So start with why.
What was your why or your trigger point when you left your, years of working for entrepreneurs and building businesses? You keep saying, it's now or never. I was 40, but there must have been something that happened or that you thought of that made you kind of make the jump.
I've been thinking about it a lot, and I was talking about it with my previous business partners. And I remember what happened is I was thinking, what makes me? And I was thinking about it. And I remember I was on vacation at my parents. It was in August 2017, I remember. And one morning, just like that, literally just like that, I woke up and I was like, damn, I know. I found it. I am going to be a business coach. Why? Because it is me. Like I said, I was born for that. When I was thinking about what I really liked when I was running businesses is all these moments where I was training my staff, I was making them better, I was training, I was presenting to clients also. I was on stage, I did a lot of public speaking, and I was like, yeah, that's it. That's what I'm gonna do.
And with business coaching, because I feel like the coaching thing kind of not that it's new, but I feel like it's in the last like 5 years, I've seen more coaches, more of this out there, high level coaches where it's like, Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos is having like coaches that come in and, hey, this is what you should do or do this. How is the world of business coaching? Like where does it all kind of begin? Is there like a me? I don't know much about it. I know we have a coach that we randomly actually found through the podcast. Not Jonathan, David. It was like our first or second episode, and we spoke with him, and we kind of like casually chatted for a few months, and then finally like brought him on because we felt like there was benefit in it. How does the coaching part of it all come together for a lot of people? How do people find you, or how do you find them? Because it is a weird thing. Because at first I'm like, I don't need a coach. Like, what is this? Like, I'm fine. Like, but then you realize like, oh, okay, like it's like going to the gym. Like if I have just a little trainer, like I clearly know how to use a machine at the gym, but maybe I'm not using it right
to the best.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes you don't realize it. And,
now like we can't not have Dave, our coach.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you have to try it and then you understand the value. But it's like the best comparison is with sports. Now everybody understand why, Serena Williams, for example, in tennis, or football teams or whatever, they understand why they have coaches to make them better. Mm-hmm. Right? It is exactly the same with business coaches. Exactly the same. But somehow I think I don't know if it was your case, but I think one of the obstacles is the fact that you're like, no, I don't need external help. I know. I've been running businesses for so many years. I know, Plus, maybe there is this ego element. Maybe like you don't want to accept that external help because you know better.
I agree. Yeah, I think the ego part of it is big too, because you'd almost think like, I'm good at this. Like, look at where it is now. And you never think that somebody on the outside can help you a little bit, even if it's just a little, because that's all you need.
Well, the one thing that I really want to get into with you, because I saw on your page, and also it's the reason why our business coach is so great, is the questions. And I'm like, is it just our coach that has the best questions? Is it the fact that we're being asked any type of question? But there's something about the power of a question coming from an outside source that's not in it. And it makes a huge difference, and it makes us like think a different way. So what's your theory on the power of really good questions? I'd love to go a little deeper on that.
I worked 14 years in market research, and we had a say with great questions comes great answers. And the opposite is very true. With crap questions, you get crap answers. And the problem is often we're stuck because we're not asking the right questions. Let me give you an example. A, the question, what is success? Versus B, the question, what is success for me? which question is better?
Very different.
A or B?
And B, obviously, right? we know this. I got it right.
No, but it is obviously it's B, because you defining success doesn't mean anything, but defining success for you, suddenly it's more personal. It means something to you. And that's where the power of questions comes. And it's true, coaching is all about asking the right questions at the right times. So that when I ask you the right question, you're like, oh damn, I didn't think about that. I love it when clients are like, oh, your question again. Oh, come on. You bore me with your question, because I know that I am at where I should be. I'm touching on something that is really important.
Yeah, it's almost like digging a little bit.
Yeah. You know, one of my two favorite questions, actually. One is why. Why are you doing the things that you're doing right now? And the second one is, what are you waiting for? So you have all these.
The one that you're waiting for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's tough because there are all these things that we have to get done. And sometimes you just put stuff aside because it's almost like too hard. Like, oh, I don't want to start that, or I don't want to do that. And we've noticed that in the last few months, like just getting started and like moving forward with the decision is sometimes hard. But once you do it, it's like, all right, that's done. It's less stress. Now you can move on and like get these other things done that you haven't been able to do. And I don't know. I just keep thinking about the coaching thing and how, like, when you think about it in other terms, like for some reason I was sitting here as you were talking, I was thinking, oh, you know, what about like a love coach or all these relationship coaches? Yeah. And so, no, but I at first, like I do another podcast, the one with the girls validate me. We had a love coach on. At the time, I was like, God, I can't get into this. Like, I just felt like it was so weird. But there is definitely something when you understand it, it makes more sense. And Aaron tried pushing the Simon Sinek, the why question on me for the first year of business. We were doing it together. And I couldn't understand it. And it was because she was kind of
not Simon Sinek.
Well, she was also trying to just tell me. And then eventually we finally watched his video on the question why. And I finally understood it. And I think a lot of time, like, you know, you can listen to so many people reference him in a lot of podcasts. And until you actually watch his video or watch him speak, I don't think you understand what he's trying to get at, because sometimes that question why seems so broad. But when you're asking it in a sense of, this is my business, why am I doing this? And yeah, you know, maybe it is to make money, but what is the deeper thing? Like, what are you trying to get out of it? What do you want? And it took a really long time for me to get it.
But once he did get it, though, once you heard Simon Sinek say it,
after
a year of me saying, what's our why? What's our why? Or what's our meaning?
She did that a lot.
He came up with it in 5 minutes. It just crystallized. And I'm like, oh, you got it. And you knew your why the whole time. And he just said it and it was literally perfect. So yeah.
Did that make anything better for your business?
I think it gave it more focus on understanding what we were doing. And like, so we were doing it for Dope Dog. And for the first year, it was just kind of like, we had an idea, we executed the idea. And then it was kind of filling in these other holes of like, well, why are we doing it? And it took me a while to get to it. But the tagline or whatever I came up with was making dogs happy, because that is what we were trying to do, right? We have a product that helps dogs, that helps them feel better, makes them happier. And it made more sense on a lot of things we do. You know, like our Instagram, we have it like, oh, we have memes because they're funny memes about dogs, and we want people to be, you know, feel that happiness. And it definitely does help. And if people are listening right now and they have no idea what we're talking about, just pause this and go watch his why video, because it really does help kind of understand it all. And then, you know, get a business coach like yourself, or, you know, get somebody that can help you push forward and execute on those ideas, or even
figure out your why. Like Michael, your why was clear because you created a product for your own dog. Like, you had the need inside of you, and there's always that something need that you realize at that moment, and you just have to find it and remember it because it's there.
Yeah. And like yourself, like you found coaching because you knew this is what you wanted to do. You found like this was what makes me feel great, and I want to feel great, and I'm going to coach people up and do all these businesses with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really got off path there, but I just wanted to mention that because I feel
No,
like
it's an important topic because, like you said, it makes a lot more sense about what your business is about. And often, the why. And you, as entrepreneurs, we don't talk a lot about the entrepreneur, the person being the entrepreneur. And I get that question a lot. Is there any difference between the why of my company and my own why? And my answer is no, there's no difference. It's exactly the same. Your company is just a product of you expressing your why. And what is difficult with the whys, though, is to find it. Because Simon Sinek explains that very well. He says it's very difficult to put words on it because our brain is not connected correctly with our language. I think emotions and language. And what I find is that usually people find their why when they have conversations, like casual conversations like that, like we're having right now, with their friends, and their friends will ask them a question like, what makes you thrive? What do you enjoy the most with your business? And they start talking. Mm-hmm. And that why is there. And the problem is they're not listening to what they're saying. And so they can't find it. It is very hard. And I do these exercises in workshops a lot with startups, for instance. And then I tell them, well, now your homework is to be more self-aware. Listen to you while you talk. Because it's there. It's in what you've been telling me. It's there.
And is there anything that you can tell people to help them listen better to themselves? Because I think I've been trying to do it more. I'm reading a book like Solve for Happy, and it's just all about, the internal conversation you have with yourself. But I think it's really hard to listen to what you're saying and listen to the things coming out of your mouth because sometimes you're not even thinking. Like, we're having a conversation. I'm not like deeply thinking about every single word coming out of my mouth. And maybe Erin is zoning out because she's like, oh, there he goes again, just randomly talking about some crap. Do you have any like strategies where I can sit down on a piece of paper or whiteboard and flush these thoughts out of my head? Because that I think is the hardest part of it, because we have all these ideas, but how do you make it into like a coherent idea? Because sometimes they're all over the place, right?
Yeah, that is tough. What I've been doing with one of my clients is I've been asking him to record himself. So we're having this conversation. I'm having this conversation with him, and I will start to take my mobile phone and start recording. And he says stuff. I remember one time I was like, oh damn, I think I said a lot of really good stuff. It's too bad I didn't record. I was like, yeah, I did. And that can really help. What I do advise is when you have all these things in your mind, always have a piece of paper with you with a pen, like old style. Write it down because otherwise you're gonna forget about it. And then I think it's all about mindfulness. It's all about training yourself. Take more time thinking, speak slowlier, and just while you're talking, just try to listen to yourself while you're talking. I don't know how to explain that better than that. I'm not a specialist. I'm not a specialist in that either. I'm sure there are techniques anyway that you can use.
No, I know. And that's just like some of the things that, I struggle. Like, we have all these ideas and just jotting them down. Sometimes you're not like pulling it out, or maybe forget about it or whatever it is, but it is nice to just bounce ideas or something off of somebody that isn't part of it day to day, because it's super helpful, because you might hear something that we keep repeating over and over, kind of like what our business coach does. He hears these things, like we're both saying like, well, what do you want to achieve in the next 6 months? And we both say these things that are totally opposite, but when he puts them together, he's like, do you see all these connections that you guys have? You want, to have X amount of revenue, or you want this over here, and they all kind of align in the same way. And sometimes we think we're on opposite sides of it, but really we're together on it, but just looking at it differently because we have different views on how it all goes. But yeah, I just keep rambling on.
That's what I was about to say. I forgot I'm a coach, but of course, hiring a coach to help you, or even having an external person, in a conversation, because that person, especially if the person is not is independent, doesn't know about your business, or is not involved as much as you are in your business, because then that person has the ability to take a step back. That step back that you don't necessarily have because your head is stuck into your day-to-day operations.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And even if they ask the most simple question, just the simple why, or like, why would you do that? Or, and then you kind of hits you like, oh yeah, like, or that's completely off topic, or yes, that is the direction we need to go. Cause you do need to distill all the ideas. Like there's a way that, you want to get all your ideas out, but then, having the other side coaching you to make sure you're not moving. You can't move forward on everything. You have to, make sure you're still staying on the direction that you want to go. Cause otherwise, it's too much.
I want to mention your podcast. How and when did you start that? Because I know I feel like we started it because we wanted to almost not cheat a little, but talk to people that are outside our realm of things, but still entrepreneurs in their own, and kind of learn from everybody. And what is your why? Why did you start your podcast?
So what happened is that 3 years ago when I started back in Cambodia, I immediately thought I'm going to do some interviews, like with a video in a studio, proper stuff, because I felt that we don't hear enough from entrepreneurs. We don't hear what they learn from being an entrepreneur. We don't hear about the best practices, about the mistakes they have made. We always hear about those that made it, those who became super famous, Gary Vee and others. But entrepreneurs like you and me, we never hear about them. So I was like, okay, I'm going to create this platform where I interview entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Small and medium entrepreneurs, and we're going to talk about their journey. And this is how it started. But in 2 years, from 2017 to 2019, I think I shoot like 5 videos, because when you shoot a video, it requires equipment, it requires the studio, it's a lot of logistics. Exactly. And at that time, I was not thinking about podcasts. I don't know why. And then fast forward to March 2020, pandemic.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, my business is hit. And I'm like, damn, I need to do something about, being more visible. And suddenly it hit me, I'm going to turn my videos into a podcast. I already had like 5 of them, put them into audio file. And then this is how it started. So it's once a week. And it's so much fun. And I talk to so much great people.
How are you finding all the people for your podcast? Are you just individually reaching out, or reaching out on a Matchmaker? Because I think that's where I found you.
Yeah. So
that's a great platform.
It is. But my main platform is LinkedIn. I just look, like every day I look at LinkedIn. I looked at the people I interact with somehow because they liked one of the posts I published, and check out their profile, and then send them a message saying, hey, I have this podcast. Would you be interested in being a guest?
That's great. Yeah, I don't use LinkedIn enough. I never go on. I feel like I never used it because I was always doing like creative work, and I was like, oh, whatever, LinkedIn. But it is useful. Like there's so many people on there.
Yeah,
it's much better than
gaining
Facebook.
A lot of traction, and it's almost becoming, people are using it more for networking. Like it was always intended for networking, but I looked at it, in the past as more like, my resume, I'm looking for jobs, but now you really can connect on there, and people are receptive. It's really a great way to meet people. I didn't even think about it for our podcast.
Yeah.
It has become my number 1 platform.
Oh, yeah, we got to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know why we haven't been doing it.
Okay, so Laurent, we want to hear your Call Me Crazy story. So Tell me about when, you did something a little crazy in business or personal life, and you kind of were, called a little weird for it, and you went ahead and did it anyway.
I think mostly in business, not in personal. We don't need no personal crazy
we've
story.
gotten some crazy stories, I think, personally too. So I like to leave it open. But yeah, sure. Tell us your business story.
The first thing, the most crazy thing that happened to me is a personal level, and I was like around 20 something, and I did some what do you call that, free diving from a plane at 3,500 meters. And so I remember
with no parachute, with a parachute.
Yeah, of course, a parachute and a guy, an instructor on my back. And I remember we went there the first day. And the weather, you feel a little bit the pressure, right? You're under stress a little bit. And the weather was bad, so we didn't go. And they told us, well, come back the next day. We were a bit disappointed. So we came back the next day, didn't sleep very well. Came back the next day. And it was okay. So we suited up, went on the plane. And before us, there were, I think there were 2-3 guys. So when you free dive, you have to go by stages. And these guys were jumping at, I think, something like 2,000 meters or 2,500 meters, whatever, I don't remember. And I'm sitting, I'm looking at them. They get ready. They open the door of the plane. And they look at me and say, good luck. And they jump out of the plane. I was like, oh, damn, what have I done? Then we went up to 3,500 meters. The instructor is on my back. And then he asked me to go on the edge of the plane.
Oh my God.
And so I'm like there's nothing, it's only emptiness under me.
Yeah.
And he says, don't close your eyes, because we're gonna do a flip, and when we are on our back, you're gonna see the plane above us. It's amazing. It is amazing, I have to say. It is amazing. But that was the craziest thing I've done. It's still now, I still remember it.
I bet,
yeah. I can't say I've done anything like that.
Yeah, definitely not for me. I would definitely not jump out of a plane.
You live to tell about it.
So where can everybody find you? Your podcast, your website? Throw it all out there for everybody.
All
if
right.
they want to hire you for a coach.
Sure. So my website is laurentnotin.com. You
We'll
can
put it
find
in the description.
Yes, you can find my website on most of the platform. It's called Interviews Cracking the Entrepreneurship Code. And then the best way to contact me is either on the website or on LinkedIn.
Cool. Oh yeah, LinkedIn, of course. Gotta use it. Well, I appreciate you coming on today. This was great. Everybody go contact him if you're looking for a coach or anything like that. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much to you. When I look at the title of your podcast, called me crazy, I started a business. I'm like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we love it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming on.